The Ramones are so influential that there are cheeses out there inspired by them. And every emo, hardcore, punk rock, pop punk band, their roots can be traced back all the way to the Ramones. The Ramones are patient zero for punk rock. Everybody gets a little bit of inspiration from what the Ramones laid down, but other bands take it very literally and just do the Ramones. These bands are called Ramones-core bands, and they can be distinguished very easily, okay? They got that downstroke kind of vibe, a lot of haze, a lot of hoes, a lot of gabba gabba yos, but most importantly, it's the Joey voice. Everybody wants to do their take on the Joey voice. Hey ladies, how's it going? Dan Frampton here, and today we're going through the Ramones-core bands. We're going worst to first. And coming in at number 8, we got the Huntingtons, okay? This band just completely rips off the Ramones in the most literal ways possible. They got the denim, they got the leather, they got the exact same sounds, they got the exact same voice, and they've been doing this for decades now. They've been doing the Ramone shtick for longer than the Ramones did the Ramone shtick, for Christ's sake. You could go to any record, any album, I don't care. You're gonna get Huntington's Ramones worship no matter where you go. Coming in at number 7, we're gonna be talking about the Lillingtons. Now this band also did a lot of the very same stuff that the Huntingtons did early on in their career. They were just a complete Ramones parody band, essentially. And the record that I listened to for this video is called Shit Outta Luck. It came out in 1996. The best song on this is called Oh Boy. They're a good band. There's nothing really too memorable going on here, you know? It's pretty solid, simple stuff. They're not going all in on the Joey voice. They're kind of making their own kind of vibe here. But it's still very ripped from the Ramones. Coming in at number 6, we're going to be talking about Screeching Weasel. And their most Ramones-core record is this one over here, Bark Like a Dog. It also came out in 1996. Their earlier stuff was kind of like hardcore influenced. You know, there'd be a little bit pop punky in the future, whatever. But this record over here is a Ramones record. You got Ben Weasel on the track over here going full Joey voice, but it's a little bit snottier. I like his kind of approach to it. There's nice playing all over this thing. The harmonies are great. It's recorded well. And the biggest and best song on it is called Cool Kids. But I'm not going back to it to listen to it all that often. But you know what? We're going to be talking about the most recent record on this list. At number 5, came out in 2022. We got Dark Thoughts with Must Be Nice. Now there's a lot of shouty, screamed vocals on this thing that aren't 100% Joey style, but when he goes Joey style, he goes deep Joey style. This is like a gritty, lo-fi, indie, DIY version of Ramones. It's aggressive in parts. I love the vocals. It's catchy. It's hooky. It's absolutely awesome. They're a great band, and they'd be the first band on this list that I would recommend that you actually go out of your way to listen to. Okay, coming in at number 4, we gotta talk about 90s band from Canada called Chixdiggit. Now this band didn't really age the best, okay? It's not really super offensive by any means, but it's kind of like a 90s coming of age comedy movie or whatever, but as a Ramones-core Canadian band. Now the vocals aren't really going full Joey style, and it's a bit more of a pop punk slant to it all. They're a pretty funny band, but it kind of has jock type frat boy vibes all around it. But they have songs about basically hanging out at the mall, having crushes on girls at the mall, breaking up with girls at the mall, you know, that kind of thing. It's catchy, it's fun, and they clearly love humping. Coming in at number 3, the third best Ramones-core band, we're talking about Teenage Bottle Rocket, and we're going all the way back to 2003 for their debut record here called Another Way. The Ramones were to surf rock what Teenage Bottle Rocket are to skate punk. They took the two different board sports of the decade and just made it their own. Teenage Bottle Rocket sound like Teenage Bottle Rocket. You can't get away from the Ramones influence, don't get me wrong, but the badass songs and vocals really distinguish them from being an absolute Ramones clone of a band. This is a packed LP over here, and they got that shout sing style perfected. Yeah, there's a strong sense of identity on here. Go check them out if you haven't, but I'm sure that you have. Coming in at number 2 is probably my favorite band on this list, okay? We're gonna be talking about Mean jeans. And in 2019, they put out this record over here, Gigantic Psych. And this is just bop after bop after bop. This thing is so fun to listen to. And again, it doesn't sound exactly like the Ramones. This sounds like Mean Gene's interpretation of what the Ramones laid down for everybody. I've been hooked to this thing since it came out, okay? You're gonna wanna listen to Party Line and What the Fuck Is Up Tonight. It's tight, it's catchy, it's fun, it's everything that you want a Ramones-core band to be. They don't take themselves too seriously, and it's just a good time. Okay, I know why you're here. We gotta talk about the elephant in the room. We gotta talk about that one band that kind of put a big stink on the Ramones-core thing, okay? We gotta talk about this band over here, The Queers. Now, this record over here, Beyond the Valley, this was just a record I listened to as a 14-year-old boy, okay? This was no big deal. They were just making edgy jokes. They were just being edgelords. But the thing about The Queers is they like targeted people, and then they just said the most offensive things that they could at those people. And if you listen to this stuff, it's not very hateful, even though it does sound extremely misogynist and maybe like the least woke thing that ever existed, which is pretty cool. This record over here, Beyond the Valley, saw the band kind of clean up their sound a little bit to kind of get to those kids that were listening to punk rock from suburbia, the me's of the world. And yeah, they directly targeted people, groups, and organizations. Ben Weasel, the disabled, women, oi boys, vegans, nobody was safe. They were all very specific with what they didn't like, and they were very, very, very vocal about it. So you can't be surprised when you're out there kind of ruffling all the feathers in the world, when you're trying to be the most dramatic band in the world. You can't necessarily be surprised when you're being left off of tours, when you're being left off of festivals. They have a song called Ben Weasel where they basically just go after the guy, and I'm all here for it, okay? I absolutely love it. The way that they took Felix the Cat, literally Felix the Cat from the Felix the Cat cartoons, and made it their own like logo and mascot, you gotta love it, you gotta respect it. And they weren't necessarily just being edgelords for a reaction, they were being edgelords for a reason. And with purpose. And from a listener's perspective, it never sounded like overly hateful or whatever. It did sound like it was comedy. It did sound like it was a band trying to be funny in the most offensive way possible. It wasn't like they were out there burning down churches or taking literal shits on the stage or anything like that. They were just saying the most offensive things that they could possibly think about. They have a song on this record over here called Strangle the Girl. And I can't necessarily listen to a lot of the stuff without kind of cringing a little bit, but songs like I Hate Your Fucking Guts and Little Rich Working Class Oi Boy and Stupid Fucking Vegan, I could revisit those tracks year after year after year. They're just funny songs. And this record over here is like the least vicious that they were, and it's still extremely vicious. It came out in the year 2000, and it was very crisp and polished, but in the year 2015, they came out with this exact same record called Beyond the Valley Revisited, and that record sounds like a Queers record. So the reason why they're here at number one is these guys are absolutely part of punk history. They're as infamous as the band could get. Okay, and that's gonna be about it. How's about you like, comment, and subscribe before you bounce on out of here. Ring the bell if you're cool as hell, and until my next upload, you can watch another upload.